It started with a simple question that every parent asks their child. Who do you love most in the whole world? I expected her to say, Mommy, or Daddy, or maybe Grandma. Instead, my 4-year-old daughter looked at me with those impossibly wise eyes and said, I love you, Mommy, but I also love my other mommy. Your other mommy? Yes. Her name was Elena. She had black hair like mine, and she sang me lullabies in Spanish. My blood turned cold. We don't speak Spanish in our house. We've never known anyone named Elena. And my daughter's black hair comes from my husband's Italian side of the family, not from any mysterious Spanish-speaking woman. But she said it with such certainty, such longing, like she was remembering someone she genuinely missed. My name is Rachel, and this is the story of how my daughter Sophia shattered everything I thought I knew about memory, about death, and about the invisible threads that connect us across lifetimes. Sophia was different from the moment she took her first breath. Where other babies cried, she observed. Where other toddlers babbled nonsense, she spoke in complete sentences by 18 months. But it wasn't just her intelligence that set her apart. It was the way she looked at the world, like she was constantly comparing what she saw to something else, something from before. This house is nice, she told me when she was 2. But it's not as warm as my other house. What other house, sweetheart? The house where I lived with Elena. It had red tiles on the roof and flowers everywhere. So many flowers. I chalked it up to imagination. All children create fantasy worlds, right? But Sophia's fantasy was remarkably consistent. She always described the same house with red tiles. She always mentioned the same woman named Elena, and she always spoke about it in past tense, like she was remembering rather than imagining. The details became more specific as she got older. Elena made the best empanadas, Sophia would say while we cooked dinner together. She put cheese and beef in them, and they smelled like heaven. We had never made empanadas in our house. Sophia had never even eaten empanadas that I knew of. Elena used to braid my hair every morning before school. She would sing while she braided, and her voice was like an angel. Sophia would hum melodies I had never heard before. Beautiful, haunting melodies that sounded distinctly Latin American. When I asked where she learned the songs, she would always give the same answer. Elena taught them to me. My husband James thought, it was adorable. She has such a vivid imagination, he would say when I expressed concern about Sophia's stories. But they're so detailed, James. So consistent. Kids are consistent with their imaginary friends. Remember when you had that invisible friend as a child? I had indeed had an imaginary friend named Mr. Purple when I was 5. But Mr. Purple was obviously imaginary. He was a purple elephant who lived in my closet and ate rainbow sandwiches. Sophia's Elena felt different. Real. The first truly unsettling incident happened on a Saturday morning in March. We were at the grocery store walking down the international foods aisle when Sophia suddenly stopped in front of the Mexican section. She pointed to a candle with a picture of the Virgin of Guadalupe on it. Elena had that lady in our kitchen, she said matter-of-factly. She would light candles for her every night and pray in Spanish. What did she pray for, Sophia? For me to be safe, and for my papa to come home from work without getting hurt. Papa, not Daddy, Papa. Elena was always worried about Papa because he worked with big machines that could hurt people. She picked up a package of masa harina and held it like it was precious. Elena made tortillas with this, from scratch, every single day. I watched my 4-year-old daughter handle ingredients she had never seen before, with the familiarity of someone who had grown up with them. Can we buy this, Mommy? I want to make tortillas like Elena taught me. Sophia, honey, Elena didn't teach you anything. She's just someone you imagined. The look she gave me was heartbreaking, disappointment mixed with a sadness too deep for a child's face. She's not imagined, Mommy. She was my other mother. before I came to you. That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, thinking about Sophia's certainty, her consistency, her knowledge of things she had never been exposed to. Finally, I did what any desperate parent would do. I started researching past life memories in children. Reincarnation cases. Dr. Ian Stevenson's studies at the University of Virginia. What I found made my skepticism waver. There were thousands of documented cases of children who claimed to remember previous lives. Children who spoke languages they had never been taught. Children who knew historical facts about places they had never visited. Children who recognized people from photographs, people who had died before the children were born. The memories typically emerged between ages 2 and 5. They were often detailed and consistent, and they usually faded as the children got older, just like what was happening with Sophia. But reading about other cases didn't prepare me for what happened next. It was a Thursday evening in April. I was making dinner while Sophia colored at the kitchen table. She had been unusually quiet all day, which was unlike her. "Mommy," she said suddenly, not looking up from her coloring book. "Yes, sweetheart?" "Elena is sad." "What do you mean?" "She's sad because nobody remembers her. She's all alone now." I turned off the stove and sat down next to Sophia. "Honey, Elena isn't real. She's just someone you made up in your imagination." Sophia finally looked at me, and I saw tears in her eyes. "She is real, Mommy. She was my mother before you were my mother, and she died when I was 6. 6? Sophia had never mentioned dying before. How did she die, Sophia? She got sick. Really sick. Her tummy hurt all the time, and she couldn't eat anything. The doctors tried to help her, but the sickness was too strong. Cancer. My daughter was describing someone dying of cancer. What happened to you after Elena died?" "I went to live with Abuela Maria. But I got sick too. Different sick. My breathing got hard, and I couldn't run or play anymore. Asthma, or something respiratory. Then I went to sleep for a long time. And when I woke up, I was in your tummy, waiting to be born." She said it so simply, like death and rebirth were as natural as going to bed and waking up the next morning. "Sophia, do you remember Elena's last name?" "Morales. Elena Morales. And my name was Isabella. Isabella Morales." I felt something shift inside my chest, a name, a specific, searchable name. That night, after Sophia had gone to bed, I sat at my computer and typed Elena Morales into the search engine. Hundreds of results came up. I added Isabella to narrow the search. Still dozens of results. Added death and 2018. Roughly when Sophia's memories would place Elena's death, given Sophia's birth year. One result made my hands shake. An obituary from the Santa Fe, New Mexican newspaper, dated September 15th, 2018. Elena Morales, beloved, mother and devoted daughter, passed away on September 12, 2018, after a courageous battle with pancreatic cancer. She was 29 years old. Pancreatic cancer, the tummy sickness that Sophia had described. Elena is survived by her daughter, Isabella Morales, age 6, and her mother, Maria Santos. Isabella, age 6, Abuela Maria. Every detail Sophia had mentioned, I kept reading with trembling hands. Elena was known for her beautiful voice and her love of traditional Mexican cooking. She worked tirelessly to preserve her cultural heritage, teaching her daughter to speak Spanish and preparing traditional foods from recipes passed down through generations. The empanadas, the tortillas, the Spanish lullabies. Elena was deeply religious and found comfort in her faith during her illness. She was a devoted member of Our Lady of Guadalupe Catholic Church, the Candle with the Virgin of Guadalupe, the nightly prayers in Spanish. In lieu of flowers, The family requests donations be made to the American Lung Association in memory of Isabella Morales, who passed away from complications related to severe asthma on January 8, 2019. January 8, 2019. Sophia was born on January 2020, exactly 1 year later, to the day. I closed the laptop and ran to the bathroom, where I threw up until there was nothing left. This couldn't be real. Reincarnation wasn't real, but the dates were too precise to be coincidence. The details were too accurate to be imagination. I printed out the obituary and stared at it until my eyes burned. Elena Morales and Isabella Morales, mother and daughter, both dead within 4 months of each other, and somehow, some impossible way, Isabella had found her way into my family. The next morning, I showed James the obituary. He read it 3 times in complete silence. "This is..." he started, then stopped. "Impossible," I finished. "There has to be an explanation." "What explanation could there possibly be, James? Our daughter knew the names of 2 people who died before she was born. She knew how they died. She knew details about their lives that match this obituary perfectly. Maybe she heard us talking about them." When? When did we ever discuss Elena and Isabella Morales? We'd never heard those names before yesterday. James didn't have an answer. Neither did I. But Sophia did. That afternoon, I sat down with her in her bedroom. "Sophia, I need to ask you about Elena." She looked up from her dolls with interest. "What do you want to know, Mommy?" "Can you tell me Elena's whole name?" "Elena Sofia Morales." "Sophia. Elena's middle name was Sophia. My daughter was named after her previous mother." "And what was your name when you lived with Elena?" "Isabella Sofia Morales. But Elena called me Bella." "What did you call Elena?" "Mommy. And sometimes Mommy Elena when Abuela Maria was there too." "Tell me about Abuela Maria." Sophia's face lit up. "Abuela. Maria was Elena's mommy. She lived with us after Elena got sick. She made the best tres leches cake, and she taught me to knit. She pantomimed knitting motions with perfect technique. Abuela Maria cried a lot after Elena died. She would hold me and cry, and say prayers in Spanish. Do you remember any of the Spanish words?" Sophia nodded and began reciting what sounded like the Hail Mary in Spanish. Perfect pronunciation. Perfect cadence. Abuela Maria taught me that prayer. She said it would keep me safe, but it hadn't kept Isabella safe. She had died 4 months after Elena. "Sophia, do you remember being sick after Elena died?" Her expression grew sad. It was hard to breathe, like there was a weight on my chest all the time. Abuela Maria took me to lots of doctors, but they couldn't fix my breathing. "Were you scared?" "A little, but Elena came to visit me." "What do you mean?" "When I was really sick, Elena would sit by my bed at night. She would sing to me and tell me not to be scared." "Could Abuela Maria see Elena too?" Sophia shook her head. "Elena said only I could see her because I was getting ready to go with her." "Go? Where?" "To the place where we wait to be born again. Elena said we would pick a new family together, but when we found you and Daddy, she said I should go alone." "Why?" "Because you needed a baby, and she wasn't ready to be a baby again. She said she would wait and maybe come later, in a different family." The simplicity of it was breathtaking. The idea that souls choose their families, that love transcends death, that Elena Morales had somehow guided her daughter Isabella into our lives. "Do you miss Elena, Sophia?" "Every day. But I'm happy with you and Daddy too. Elena told me you would love me just as much as she did. She was right. I know. That's why she picked you." That evening I made a decision that would have seemed insane to me just days earlier. I researched Maria Santos, Elena's mother, Isabella's abuela. I found her address in Santa Fe, and I wrote her a letter. "Dear Mrs. Santos," I began, then stopped. How do you explain to a grieving grandmother that you believe her deceased granddaughter has been reborn as your child? How do you offer comfort that might sound like the cruelest joke imaginable? I tried again. Dear Mrs. Santos, you don't know me, but I believe I have some information about your granddaughter Isabella that might bring you comfort. I told her about Sophia, about the memories, about the names and dates and details that matched perfectly. I included photos of Sophia and our address. I told her she was welcome to meet Sophia if she wanted to, but that I would understand if she thought I was crazy. I mailed the letter before I could change my mind. 2 weeks later, my phone rang. Is this Rachel? The voice was elderly, heavily accented with Spanish. Yes. This is Maria Santos. I got your letter. My heart stopped. Mrs. Santos, when can I meet her? You believe me? Mija, I have been praying every day for almost 2 years for some sign that my Isabella is okay. Your letter, it is the answer to my prayers. You're not angry. You don't think I'm crazy. My Isabella had a birthmark on her shoulder, shaped like a star. Does your Sophia have this mark? I looked across the room at Sophia, who was playing with her dolls. She was wearing a tank top, and I could see her left shoulder clearly. The small, star-shaped birthmark I had always thought was just a cute quirk. Yes, I whispered. She has the star. Then she is my Bella, my granddaughter. And I need to see her. Maria Santos drove from Santa Fe to our home in Denver the following weekend. When she knocked on our door, Sophia was napping. I had shown her photos of Maria, but I hadn't told Sophia that her abuela was coming to visit. I wanted to see Sophia's reaction with my own eyes. Maria was a small woman in her 70s with kind eyes and calloused hands. The moment she walked into our living room, she started crying. She looks just like Elena did at that age, she whispered. Sophia woke up from her nap and wandered into the living room, rubbing her eyes. She saw Maria and froze. Then she screamed, not with fear, but with joy. Abuela Maria. She ran across the room and threw herself into the elderly woman's arms. Bella, Maria sobbed. Mi amor, mi vida, you came back to me. I missed you so much, Abuela. I wanted to visit you, but I couldn't remember where you lived. I'm here now, mija. I'm here. They held each other and cried. This elderly woman and my 4-year-old daughter, reunited across the impossible divide between life and death. Sophia pulled back and looked at Maria's face carefully. You look older, Abuela. Time passes differently when you're not here, Bella. Are you still sad about Mommy Elena? Every day. But seeing you, knowing you're safe and loved, it helps. Sophia nodded seriously. Elena is okay, Abuela. She told me to tell you that she's not in pain anymore. Maria started crying again. When did she tell you this? Sometimes I dream about her. She says she watches over me and you, and she's happy that I found such a good new family. They spent the entire afternoon together. Maria brought photo albums filled with pictures of Elena and Isabella. Sophia recognized every picture. That's the kitchen where Elena made empanadas, she said, pointing to one photo. And that's the dress I wore on my first day of school, she said about another. And that's Whiskers. I loved that cat so much. Maria confirmed every identification, every memory, every detail. She knows things that only Isabella could know, Maria told me privately, while Sophia played in the backyard. Things I never told anyone else. The way Elena hummed while she cooked. How Isabella arranged her stuffed animals on her bed. The nickname. Elena called me when she was being silly. What nickname? Abuela Banana. Because I always had bananas in my purse for snacks. I had never heard Sophia mention that particular detail. But that evening, as Maria was getting ready to leave, Sophia hugged her goodbye and whispered, I love you, Abuela Banana. Maria broke down completely. That was 6 months ago. Maria visits us once a month now. She has become Sofia's honorary grandmother, and Sofia lights up every time she arrives. They cook traditional Mexican foods together. Maria teaches Sofia songs that Elena used to sing. They look through photo albums and share memories of a life that ended and somehow continued. But Sofia's memories of her life as Isabella are beginning to fade. It's happening gradually, the way it does with most children who claim to remember past lives. She still recognizes Maria and talks about Elena occasionally, but the day-to-day details are becoming hazier. The Spanish words are slipping away. The specific memories are blurring into general feelings. I used to know more, Sofia told me last week, sounding frustrated, but it's getting hard to remember. That's okay, sweetheart. You don't have to remember everything. But what if I forget Elena completely? The love won't go away, even if the memories do. Love is stronger than memory. She considered this seriously. Abuela Maria says the same thing. She says Elena's love lives in my heart, even when I can't remember her face. Abuela Maria is very wise. Will you help me remember to love Elena, even when I forget her? Always. Sometimes I catch Sofia staring out the window with that faraway expression that used to worry me. But now I know she's not lost. She's just remembering. And even as those memories fade, something else has taken their place. Certainty. The absolute knowledge that love survives death, that families can find each other across lifetimes, that the bonds we form transcend the physical boundaries of birth and death. Last week, Sofia asked me if she could have a little sister. Maybe, I told her. Why? Because Elena is ready to try again. She told me in my dream. Elena wants to be born as your sister? Sofia nodded confidently. She's been practicing being a baby with the other spirits. She thinks she's ready now. The matter-of-fact way she discusses the mechanics of reincarnation still takes my breath away. But I've learned to listen, to believe, to trust that my daughter knows things about the universe that I'm only beginning to understand. Maria calls Sofia her miracle granddaughter, the child who came back to let her know that death isn't the end, that Elena and Isabella are both safe, that love finds a way. I never believed in reincarnation before I met your Sofia, Maria told me recently. But how can I deny what I see with my own eyes? She is my Isabella. Different body, same soul. Do you think Elena will really come back as Sofia's sister? If Sofia says so, then yes. That child knows things the rest of us have forgotten. I'm not sure if I'm ready for another child who might carry memories of a previous life. But I'm not sure readiness matters. If Elena Morales chooses our family again, if she trusts us to love another piece of her story, then we'll welcome her. We'll love her. We'll help her remember what matters and let go of what doesn't. Because that's what families do. Even families that span multiple lifetimes. Even families connected by threads that science can't explain and skeptics refuse to believe. Sofia is sleeping peacefully as I write this. Tomorrow she'll wake up as my daughter, my Sofia, carrying just the faintest echoes of the little girl she used to be. But tonight, I whisper a thank you to Elena Morales, wherever she is. Thank you for choosing us. Thank you for trusting us with Isabella's continuation. Thank you for showing us that love is truly eternal. And if you're listening, if you're really planning to come back as Sofia's sister, then know this. You are wanted. You are loved. You are welcome in our family, no matter what memories you carry or what stories you need to tell. Because we've learned that the most incredible stories are often the truest ones, and the most impossible love is often the strongest. So I ask you this. When a child tells you they had another mother in another life, and they remember her name with perfect clarity, when they know details of lives they never lived, people they never met, places they never saw, when they carry the love and loss of experiences that belong to someone else, someone who died before they were born. Do you dismiss it as imagination? Or do you consider that maybe, just maybe, consciousness is bigger than we understand? That love transcends the boundaries of individual lifetimes? That the souls we've lost sometimes find ways to come back to us, carried in the hearts and memories of children who know impossible things? I used to think death was the ultimate separation. Now I know it's just a different kind of distance. One that love can cross, one that memories can bridge, one that families can survive. The rest is just mystery, and some mysteries are too beautiful to solve.